Harmony, a state of balance between all living things that allows for light and dark to coexist in peace with one another. Long ago, rumors had spread around the cosmos of a legend known as the Galaxy of Harmony, a solemn plane of existence that within harbors the very epicenter of legend. The 7 planets formed as any other had done throughout time, large pieces of rock and boulders culminating together to form several gargantuan behemoths. However, it was one planet that became legend among the rest. From unknown territories to us, a boulder had fallen through the void from places far beyond legend. The boulder continued to fall until it had crashed through the planet's surface and embedded itself within the planet's core. It was then that an unnatural phenomenon occurred, as a rather strange, enchanting magic began bleeding from the boulder and started to merge with the core. Suddenly, due to reasons unknown, the magic began to seep its way back through the layers of the planet. Once reaching the surface, the essence began to feed its way throughout the planet as it spread across the entire surface. Suddenly, the essence started bringing life to the planet of nothingness. Nature began to flourish as endless fields of rock turned into soft plains of grass that expanded for miles. Trees started to erupt from the cracked surface, becoming guardians of the ground. In what seemed like a matter of minutes, the planet had gone from a world devoid of colour to a heaven filled with life. And yet, the magic did not stop there, as it started to give life to several unique creatures as bodies started to appear from seemingly thin air. It proceeded to do this until it had given birth to around 100 of these unique, soon-to-be colonies. Without knowing anything, each and every one of them started to sing praises of this mystical force. Centuries would pass as the original 100 living beings had expanded into thousands, living inside a vast kingdom of thriving communities. Residing within the very top of a mountain, surrounded by valleys and hillsides, the kingdom had itself a palace that would shine when the sun lay its rays upon the castle walls. This shining beacon of community would become known as the Phoenix Crest, named after the planet with the very same name, Phoenix. The people of this world used the essence in everyday life to benefit the kingdom. However, they also knew of the unholy levels of power the essence could bring, and thus, a kingdom-wide competition was held. The strongest competitors would become the new king and queen of the kingdom, and indeed, the world. The competition tested their strength, endurance, physical and mental awareness, all aspects that needed to be covered to ensure a strong lead would sit upon the throne. After many days of near back-breaking work, 2 victors came out on top. Their names were Acarnus Dawn and Eventide Silka. Together, they ascended to become the kingdom's protectors and newfound rulers. Round about the same time as they were chosen, a theory was going around the kingdom. If they were born into being via this essence, would it be possible to create a child of your very own using this essence? Thus, they decided to test out this theory to see what the results would yield. They were astounded. Through a combination of their blood, the essence began reacting and building a DNA construct that mirrored Acarnus and Eventide's very own DNA. It was then that the dust had settled, and what lay in front was an infant child, the very first to be born from this new experiment. This was the birth of Gastrolite Dawn. But unfortunately, happiness was merely temporary. Moments of joy would soon turn to gusts of anarchy when one day the king and queen were having their coronation to celebrate their new lives as well as the life they had brought into this world. It was then that an explosion went off bringing down pieces of debris from the castle walls. The king and queen took cover from the ensuing chaos as several guards were thrown high into the air. This attack was brought about by anarchists who outright rejected the thoughts of the monarchy. To them, two nobodies had been made charge of a world that had gone just fine without them for many years prior. Leading this attack was a madman by the name of Nadir Helmfire, and it was upon this day a civil war had broken out, pitting the forces of harmony against the colony of madness, as bloody fights began to break out across the land as both sides struggled to gain control. A call was sent out across the stars by the Phoenix Crest, and to their luck of fortune, the call was answered. A nearby planet by the name of Vanaheim sent out a small force consisting of King Ivadon and Queen Tassia, alongside the Royal Guard. The negotiations went on, and in the end, a deal was forged. However, no covenant mission is made free. Thus, a deal was made in return. King Ivadon requested that when the war is won, they ask as a symbol of their alliance to be forged as one, to continue onward after the war, and to help both planets elevate to new heights, as well as of smaller and finer details to be worked out in time. Thus, the contract was made, and the two worlds began working as one, and the war started to swing in their favour. At the same time, Gastrolite was starting to become good friends with one of the royal guards of the Allied world. This royal guard were an elite fighting force of warriors from across their kingdom that devoted their life to the cause. One of the warriors had attracted the attention of the young prince. She was a rather strange being to him, as two distinct differences stood out about her. Atop her head were large pointed ears that stood out. Then there were the large flowing tails behind her that softly glowed in the sunlight. This warrior's name was Larnia. Together, the two spent much of their time with each other, enjoying their time as childhood friends. And thus, it was here that saw a pivotal moment shift within time, as fate would soon lead the course of the next few years.